All right, so today I got a fairly common household item. I've never actually seen the inside of one of these things, so I thought it'd be interesting just to pop it apart real quick. It was a spare one I had laying around. I don't know if you can read that. There we go. So it says interruption rating 1,000 amps, max RMS system, 120, 240 volts AC, made in the USA, and it's a square D. There are a couple different manufacturers of these things, but I can't remember. I thought there was only one that made the square D type, which I guess is like for residential stuff is kind of the premium, or well, maybe not the premium, but is like a step above the base level of these things. So anyway, looks like it's just riveted together. Hopefully we can just drill out these rivets and pop it apart. Wow, so this is a little more complicated than I would have thought. So it looks like this must be an adjustment screw of some kind. And of course I just dropped the sticker to see what it says. Get that back on there. Hopefully freeze frame that and be able to read it. Underwriters Laboratory Inc. Circuit breaker, 1 pole, Square D Company. So that must be an adjustment screw to calibrate it. Jeez, like that rivet doesn't want to come out. Okay, so we've got this piece, which appears just to be an arc shield. Yeah, so that goes there. That's an arc shield. So if this pops on its own, okay, so that's the hair. So this is a trigger mechanism. So when we pull here, you can see this guy slides into there. We pull the whole thing. Oop, come on. Oh, I didn't quite get that set. There we go. Pull the whole thing together. This guy is the trigger. All right, so here's the little trigger release mechanism. So this little pawl, I think, was sitting in there, right? And when this scoots over enough, that swings down, pulls on the little arm, and breaks the contact there. All right, so I think I got what's going on here. So we've got... and I had to look up the second part, like in a short circuit situation, because didn't really make sense to me. But so in a slow blow condition, this strip just gets hot, I think. And what happens is, so you remember that little trigger pawl was sitting there and would trip down this way if this plate were able to move back a little bit. So I think as this thing expands, just because of kind of the preload on it, it wants to kind of come back this way, and it causes this thing to trip. Now apparently, and I still don't really get exactly how this works, apparently there's also a magnetic field trip where if the current passing through here is high enough, and I see that there's a coil here, if the current passing just through this one tiny little coil is high enough, because it's in a circle, it generates a magnetic field and pulls the thing over to trip. So, who knew? That's, an electromechanical device, no brains at all. All it is a couple springs and, balancing some spring tension between a screw and another thing. You could definitely see why, if these things got tripped too many times, they would wear out and potentially not work. So, yeah, I mean, that definitely makes me think. And it also, I could see how these things would wear out over time just from sitting. I mean, everything's under tension all the time. I mean, in theory, a spring, as long as you stay within its bend limits, it should have quite a few cycles in it. But can definitely see how, potentially these things could wear out. So anyway, yeah, definitely interesting. Definitely learned something from that. So thanks for watching.